Stupid, ugly, dumb, crazy, too skinny, or too fat. Are those words that you have been called or somebody else has called you? According to Google Dictionary, the word bully is described as using superior strength or influence to intimidate someone, typically to force him or her to do what one wants, and defines the word harassing as subject to aggressive pressure or intimidation. Sounds hurtful, right? According to StopBullying.gov, approximately 28% of students in grades 6 through 12 have experienced bullying and harassing, and approximately 30% of students admit to bullying or harassing others. 19 years ago, anti-bullying and harassing laws did not exist in the United States. This changed after a tragic event on April 20th of 1999, known as the Columbine High School Massacre, where 2 students murdered 12 students, 1 teacher, injured 12, and then both committed suicide. The motive behind this event was unclear, but it was believed to be caused by the 2 students being bullied at school. According to an article on StopBullying.gov, 12 out of 15 school shooting cases that took place in the 90s involved shooters that had been bullied in school. After listening to this speech, I hope that you will understand the importance of having bullying and harassing laws placed in public schools in America. I will now go into depth about the law placed in Mississippi prohibiting bullying and harassing behaviors and the consequences that these behaviors may have. Mississippi's Code 371167 is broken into 6 sections. Starting with Section 1, it states, as used in this section, bullying or harassing behavior is any pattern of gestures, written, electronic, or verbal communication, or any physical act of any threatening communication, or any act reasonably perceived as bullying motivated by actual or perceived differentiating characteristic that takes place on school property, school-sponsored functions, or on a school bus. And it further states that places a student or school employee in actual or reasonable fear of harm to his or her person or damage to his or her property, or is to create a certain hostile environment by substantially interfering with or impairing a student's educational performance, opportunities, or benefits. For purposes of this section, hostile environment means that the victim subjectively views the conduct as bullying or harassing behavior, and the conduct is objectively severe or pervasive enough that a person would agree that it is bullying. Section 2 states, no student or school employee shall be subjected to bullying or harassing behavior by school employees or students. Section 3 states, no person shall engage in any act of reprisal or retaliation against a victim, a witness, or a person with reliable information about bullying or harassing behavior. Section 4 states, a school employee who has witnessed or has reliable information that a student or a school employee has been subjected to any act of bullying or harassing behavior should report the incident to the appropriate school officials. Section 5 states, a student or a volunteer who has witnessed or has reliable information that a student or a school employee has been subject to any act of bullying or harassing behavior should report the incident to the appropriate school office. And lastly, Section 6 states, conduct described in this subdivision 1 of this section is considered bullying if it conducts or interferes with the student's education or substantially disrupts the operation of a school. So what are the consequences of bullying? As stated in the journal entry on secondstep.org, consequences should be linked to the level of bullying severity. An example would be loss of privileges such as no recess or not being able to choose where you want to sit at lunch. Now I will explain the effects that bullying and harassing have on school-aged children. Bullying can and will affect everyone involved, whether it be the person being bullied, the person who is the bully, or the person who witnessed the bullying. As stated in an article from Pediatric Nursing, adolescents Adolescents who are being bullied may engage in health risk behaviors such as using illicit drugs and alcohol abuse and can experience problems physically and mentally. These problems include depression, health issues, and suicidal thoughts or actions. It also states that the adolescent who partakes in the bullying may participate in health risk behaviors such as smoking, alcohol abuse, and weapon carrying. So, how do we solve the problem of harassment and bullying in public schools? According to an article on children in schools, laws and codes have now been in place in all 50 states of America dealing with bullying and harassing in schools. Stated in an article on journal Population Economics, since these laws have been in place, there has been a 7 to 13 reduction in school violence and an 8 to 12% reduction in bullying. In conclusion, after my research, I myself have realized how important bullying and harassment laws in public schools are and the effects that it has on school-aged children. It's something that public schools must take a hold of and enforce before matters get worse. Bullying has continued to be a major problem in public schools, and we must enforce and implement them better to see better results. This concludes my speech.